Okay, so this is a question, I guess, but this is me just trying to nail down how you are supposed to do tongues in church. Okay. So someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to do a tongues." Okay. So then you will then have to go in front of the church with the tongues person and say, "Hey, this person wants to speak in tongues." And then you have to go, "Is there an interpreter here?" And then you have to get the interpreter up there. And then you have to see if there's any non-believers or kids in the church. And if they are uncomfortable with that or they think it's going to be weird, you have to either not do the tongues or kick them out and let them wait in like a non-believer soundproof weird shit waiting room or something like that. And then you can do the tongues and the interpretation, and then you got to bring all the kids and the non-believers back in, and then we can get on with the rest of the program. Right? This is what has to happen at church?
No. Not at all. Just no.
Okay.
No.
This is what you... okay, for real, though.
Okay, for real.
Like, this is for real.
Okay,
like, this is how you're supposed to do it at church, right?
No, that's not right.
I don't understand that.
That's not right
Okay.
at all. Okay. All right. So, again...
Don't look at the Bible. Just tell me.
All right.
Okay.
So
right. if you were... Okay,
right.
so say everyone who's a believer at the church that you're at is cool with speaking in tongues.
Yes.
However, you've got some children and some new people there that morning.
Right.
And then someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to do a tongues."
Okay.
What do you do?
What do I do?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you go about following the Bible to accomplish the nonsense session?
Okay. So, the nonsense session. All right. So first of all, the gift of tongues is not nonsense, but I understand to a non-believer it might appear to be that way.
That's the angle I always take, and you know that, so that's why I said it.
I don't know. All right. So
go ahead.
All right. No. So if as a pastor, as long as I know that there is someone there who has the gift of interpretation, I am completely fine with someone coming up, giving a tongue, and letting there be an interpretation.
Okay, but what if that didn't happen?
What do you mean that didn't happen?
Okay, so what if you let the person speak the tongue, and then the gift of interpretation person that you knew was in the church didn't say anything and refused to give an interpretation? Now you're in violation of the Bible because there was no gift of interpretation. So don't you need to make sure that gift of interpretation person is going to get up there and do an interpretation before you let the person speak in tongues?
Yeah, but why would they? Okay, person, if the person has a gift of interpretation, I know they have the gift of interpretation. Why would they not give the gift? Why would they not give the interpretation?
Why would you risk them not giving the gift of interpretation and therefore going against the Bible?
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is, hey, if you got someone that comes up with a gift of tongues, so maybe this would be the most Maybe
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Am I I don't feel like I'm being ridiculous right now.
No,
if you're trying to follow the Bible in your church service,
then I think the most prudent. Then I think the most prudent thing. Someone comes up and they says, "Yeah, I've got a gift of tongues that I believe is for the assembly." Okay, cool. Let me go check with the person who has the gift of interpretation.
Okay,
go to them. Hey, someone's got a gift of tongue. Are you ready to interpret that tongue? And then I can let that person be basically the deciding factor.
Okay. And you're going, I'm trusting you to give this interpretation.
Correct.
Because if you don't, then I'm going to hear shit for it when I get to heaven. Right?
Well, no. I mean, no.
Because I allowed this.
Okay. I don't.
And there's non-believers and kids here.
Right.
And I have to make sure that you get up there and give this interpretation. Otherwise,
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Screwed.
We're in trouble. And I will say that as a pastor,
Okay.
there have been times where I have been like, Lord, if there is no interpretation, would you give me the interpretation?
Okay.
Just because I do want there to be faithfulness in the scriptures. Okay.
All right.
But I think what you're saying, like, so if it all right, so if I'm in a situation where I know there's someone who's got the gift of tongues and this person's, I know that gift of tongues is there with them, right? They have a gift. Okay, cool. Let's go check with the interpretation person. That would probably be the most prudent way of handling it.
Okay, so you have to, if this happened in the middle of service, you'd have to just shut everything else down to make sure that all the pieces are in place.
Yeah, but
in order for you not to be sinning against God in your service.
Sure. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't think it's actually that big of an ask to go to the person that's got the gift of interpretation and be like, hey, someone's got a gift of tongues. Do you feel like you have the interpretation for that?
Okay, and do you not need to check with everybody in the church before you do this?
No. Why would I need to do that?
Because...
Okay, why would I need to check? But seriously, like, why would I need to check with everybody else there?
Because if I thought non-believers weren't supposed to be in there when you did this.
Unless there's an interpretation. That's kind of the whole point of all of this.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless there's an interpretation.
I don't think that part was clear to me when I was listening to everything back.
Okay.
That it's okay to do it in front of non-believers if there's an interpretation.
If there's an interpretation.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because But I do like.
But this is a big thing that you have to just stop service to accomplish.
100% it is.
If someone comes up to you in the middle of service so that you're going with the Bible correctly.
Right. I mean, like, that's why there's a whole, like, if you think about all the things that are talked about in Scripture, right?
Yeah.
All the gifts, even like all the gifts that are discussed, right? There's not a whole chapter on healing. There's not a whole chapter on word of wisdom. There's not a whole chapter on word of knowledge. There's a whole chapter on how to handle tongues.
That's because none of those other things make you look insane. They make you look cool.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think Paul is writing it for that purpose of being like, hey, we want to make sure we handle this appropriately. Because it can if a
superhero came to me and they did any of those other things, it'd be like, oh, that's awesome. But if they came up to me and just said
gibberish,
nothing, just gibberish, it'd be like, you wouldn't even know what they were called.
Yeah, and because as it says in verse 21, and Paul here is quoting a scripture, but so he's quoting actually from Isaiah 28, but he says, I will speak to this people by people of other tongues, by the lips of foreigners, and even then they will not listen to me. In other words, tongues is like, you start to speak in tongues, like rarely is someone just going to start listening to you, right? Because they're going to think you're crazy.
Okay.
And so Paul's whole thing here is trying to be sensitive to the fact of, hey, we've got unbelievers here, or we've got individuals that are quote unquote not spiritual or not familiar with the gifts.
Okay.
That we need to be very mindful of how we go about these gifts.
So the Bible is assuming that non-believers are going to not think it's crazy anymore after someone comes up and does interpretation after someone says stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of those things where like someone gives a tongue and then someone gives an interpretation. You're right. There may be people who still think that's crazy. Okay, yeah. I mean, but I think biblically at least, the interpretation is going to be connected. Like, in other words, it's going to be very prophetic in its nature. In other words, it's going to accomplish the same things as a prophetic word is going to accomplish. Meaning, which here says if all are prophesying and an unbeliever or outsider comes in, he is convicted by all, is called to account by all, secrets of his heart will be revealed, and as a result, he will fall face down and worship God, proclaiming God is really among you. In other words, that interpretation will be like a prophetic word that will actually cause a source of conviction on that individual,
Oh.
or bring forth a revelation into that life of that
So
individual.
because it means something potentially to a lot or some
Sure.
or all or whatever of the non-believers,
Right.
they won't think it's as crazy because they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like-
that just really spoke to me.
okay.
Oh, wow. Did God just really say that through that? Oh, okay. Right.
Okay.
I think that's kind of what Paul is saying is going to happen here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And same thing for children.
Same thing for kids.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And again, pastorally, I think it's a responsibility of the pastor and elders to make sure that we are conveying, hey, this is what's happened.
Okay.
And allowing it to be a teaching moment
Like,
as well.
oh, I shouldn't leave my boogers under the desk.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't do that. That's gross.
All right. I understand, I think.
Okay.